Recording started.
We're seeing their associating like you're seeing at the bottom window. The bottom of the video window.
Okay, so she's got to be in the meeting.
If she wants to be on camera, that's good.
Yeah, if you want to be on camera.
That's you.
I'm a mover. So
Just be careful on that cord that's next to
if you want them to see you, you have to move here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want me to tell them to say?
Just a second. Welcome. We're glad that you could make it. My name is Susan Liasel, and I teach anatomy and physiology at Illinois Valley Community College. And we're here, all of us. We have our team of people who've been working with this great group of middle school girls for over a year now, and we actually have them on Illuminate, and they're really excited to be here. So we thought we would let them say hi. So, hey girls, can you give everybody a wave? So this is Lincoln Junior High, and the teacher to the right is John Fazzinato. He has been working with us. This is Christy Eager. She's one of the middle school teacher consultants, and the rest of the team is here. Rosemary Lynch, English and Communications Instructor, Jim Gibson, Electronics, and Doreen Perez, CAD. She's the PI of an NSF grant, and the grant is to recruit non-traditional people into engineering technology careers. So my area with all of that is to work with the middle schools. We've kind of worked with every age group though, and Doreen and Jim have worked a lot with the high school students and worked on a guitar making class. But we want to talk to you today about all the great things we've been doing with these girls. So this is John. John was supposed to be with us, but couldn't come. So here he is in a picture. Wasn't sure if we were going to be able to video him in, so I just kept that in there in case we couldn't get the video to work. So for our grant, the challenge is, how do you encourage girls to go into non-traditional fields like engineering technology and information technology? So women are still underrepresented in engineering technology, which is the focus of our grant. However, working with these girls, we have incorporated a lot of different areas, science, technology, engineering, and math. So we're going to talk about some of the things that we've done with them. And one real focus with this group was we wanted to foster independent thinking in these young girls. It started when we offered scholarships to some of the girls at this school to participate in a Challenger camp at Illinois State University. So these are the girls that participated in that, and they sort of are our starter group here. And what grade were they in when they were back?
They were. It was a summer between 7th and 8th grade, and then these girls are now freshmen in high school, and we're still tracking them.
Okay. Okay, so this is where it all began. And our program really started with them, what we're doing as a group in the beginning of 2010. So we've been working with these girls for a year now. And I wanted to focus on girls because we need more women in these fields. We need more of that kind of perspective. So what we decided to do was, instead of offering a camp where you go in and you do something with them and then you leave, we wanted to do something more sustained. So we picked this group of girls and we've stayed with them all this time. And some of the things that we do are we make sure that we bring them to campus for a visit at least one time per semester, and they come out and they do all sorts of activities on campus. And then the activities that we do, we assess every activity that we do with them using pre- and post-test activities, and we integrate them with them, and we also throw in a lot of career exploration. So I'm going to describe what I feel are our best practices for this project, because I do think that we're unique compared to what other people are doing. First of all, the most important thing is to find the right kind of partners. Like, find a Christy, find a John, and you can't go wrong, because these teachers really do a lot of work with these girls, and they've been so easy to work with, and it's been a really good partnership. Some of the work we've been doing too has been inviting the parents in to actually participate with the girls in the hands-on activities. And we actually did a study last year. We divided all of the girls at the entire school. There's 121 girls at this school into 2 groups, and randomly divided them into 2 groups. In one group, we invited the parents to participate, and in the other group, the parents were not invited to participate. And then we did a hands-on activity where they made a diode, and the parents were actually helping the girls do that activity. And we found that the responses of girls in terms of whether they would consider a career in engineering or technology were much more favorable in the group that worked with the parents than the ones who didn't have a parent there. So that was really interesting. We feel that you really need to provide a lot of hands-on activities to get them learning, and we want to challenge them. So we don't always say, here's what you have and you have to do this. We've been working with these Lego Mindstorms robots, and we've been working with Pico Crickets, and Pico Crickets are kind of like the Legos, except that they're more creative, and you can come up with things that play music, and you can do little fuzzy animals and things that move. But they really responded well to both the Legos and the Pico Crickets.
The Pico Crickets, is that something you have to do a Lego, or is it a complete separate?
It's separate from Lego, yeah. It's a different company, and it's based on the same kind of programming principle. You get it to move, but what it does that Lego can't do, one thing it can do is that you can make it play music. So, you get kind of into that more creative side that the girls really enjoy. And they have said to you, I think, Chrissy, they kind of prefer the Pico Cricket, but they're getting a little excited about the Pico Cricket.
They're easier, I think, for them to do. The Pico Cricket is more programming, and like she said, the creative. And then the girls right now, they're building a haunted house all around their Pico Cricket for the activities that they're making it do. The Mindstorms, they've had to actually assemble them first and then program. So they're just a little different in what their tasks are.
You with isolated girls in groups. Did you take that choice?
How did we pick
them?
Yeah.
Well, as opposed to like co-ed.
In the grant, since we have a focus on engineering technology and women are underrepresented, and it's a passion of mine to really try to get the girls involved in these things that are considered more boy-oriented things. That's what I wanted to do. So, I chose to work with just the girls. Now, that doesn't mean that that's all we do with the grant, because we have worked with the boys before at other schools, and we're planning on working with the boys at this school too. But I feel like as far as best practice, I do think it's good to separate the boys from the girls still. That's just my personal opinion. But we will talk a little bit about how they were selected for this program. Time, to me, is a big thing too, because I saw a lot of people doing things. They would do these week-long camps or 2-day camps, and bring girls in, and it was always a great experience. But to me, what was missing was the follow-up. Spending a long period of time with them and really getting them to think about these things regularly rather than just throwing it at them in a day and then they kind of forget about it. That's why I wanted to work with a group for an extended period of time. And so, that to me is also one of the more important parts of our program that kind of makes us different from other people, is the time that we've invested. And you'll see in a minute how many activities we've done with them. It's pretty amazing. I didn't realize until I put this all together how much we've done in a year. So campus visits, I think, are very important too, because although when we survey these girls, I was surprised, 100%, and that includes the girls that are not part of the program, because when we did the diode activity, we surveyed them, all of the girls said they plan on going to college. And I was kind of surprised by that, that at that age, I thought maybe they wouldn't think about it, and this is a very low-income area. We're in LaSalle, Illinois, which is about 100 miles southwest of Chicago. So that was kind of a surprising finding. But we do feel the campus visits are important, because then they get a feel for the college environment, and then maybe they can see themselves there, when they get to that age. And we've been playing around with some technology follow-up through Blackboard. We're going to have them working on some electronic journals, and we have them submit surveys through Blackboard as well. Okay, this slide is just showing when we did that diode activity. Doreen and Jim came in and worked with these two groups that we randomly selected, and this is a father helping his daughter melt some, what was it? It was gold and silver, yeah, on a silicone plate. And we try to tell the parents, don't do the activity for the girls, just help them. And the ones that came were just so excited that we asked them. And the reason I got this idea partly was because I've been investigating what people are saying about this millennial generation and how the parents are so ultra involved with their kids. And I thought, well, maybe they don't know what careers are available to young girls, and maybe if we can get the parents involved, they can kind of keep that conversation going at home. So, okay. All right. So, choosing partners is easy. We lucked out. We really did. I live right across the street from the school. And so I knew Christy and I knew John, and we had them come to campus and told them what our goals were, and they were just so excited to be able to provide something to the girls that was unique and beyond the scope of what the girls would do in school every day. And so we found them right away.
Just to clarify, so a couple of your partners are high school teachers, the middle school teachers?
Middle school, yeah.
And then the other two are in college?
Yes, the rest of us all teach at Illinois Valley Community College, yes. Yeah. So make sure they're excited about your goals, and that was obviously clear from the beginning that they were just as excited as we were about working with them. And I feel it's important that everyone understands the population that you're working with. We're in a very rural area that has, in this school, the poverty rate is 68%. And poverty is defined as people who are eligible for free or reduced lunch. I mean, that's just at this school. In our district, with the elementary through the junior high, the number's even higher. It's like 72% poverty rate. And what is the state average?
45%.
Yeah, the state of Illinois average.
City is Chicago.
Right. So, we're talking a very, very low income population. And so, that's also a question of mine, providing to girls who would never have the opportunities that other kids do at, some of the, schools that have a better tax base. And of course, it's always important to have administrative buy-in. Their administrators are very supportive of what they do, and that's been very helpful. Okay, so how we selected them, and Christy can kind of chime in here with this too. We have 23 girls this year. Last year we had 25 because some of them moved up to the high school. And 48% of them are Hispanic of this group. And what's the Hispanic population at the school? It's like 30-something.
It's in the mid-30s, I think.
Yeah, mid-30s, that sounds right. And we did not select them based on their grades. And we wanted people who showed an interest and excitement for learning, and we wanted people who would complete the activities, because a lot of them would take place outside of the school day. So, she has them working on things after school, and,
Right.
And so she wanted to pick students that would take it seriously. So that's how they were selected.
Yeah, and a lot of, excuse me, and a lot of the girls that we did pick, you saw that special feeling that they had, and sometimes, you just need to grab that kid and kind of wrap your arms around them to let them know, what, I think you can do more, and it just needs somebody to kind of push them in a direction. And we, one of the things that John and I really were hoping for is that we would kind of foster that in some of these girls that maybe wouldn't see that in themselves, or no one else in their lives maybe was fostering that in them. So it definitely wasn't academic.
Did you have to turn away a lot of girls?
No, because we didn't put it out there kind of we just chose them. They didn't choose us, should I say. We have had some girls that have asked to be in the group, and we've always allowed, we've never turned anybody away. So we've never, said no. I have a lot of boys that want to be in the group that have come to me. I think that's really cool what you're doing, Ms. Eager. I want to see when are we going to get to do that? So it sparked a pretty good excitement within our school, I think.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a good thing.
That's actually part of it. It could be too is that, this group of selected girls, they do feel special that they were selected. And I'm very glad it's not based on grades, because I feel like that's how you kind of move someone in the right direction, in a direction they might not have gone in had you not picked them. So I'm happy with it because what we're going to do also with the girls to instill some leadership in, they're going to show the boys how to do the robots. They're going to show the boys how to put them together and how to program them and how that goes. This is just a short list of some of the activities that we have done, and the next few slides are going to show some of the activities, and we'll talk about them as we come to them. This was recently, we had the girls out this past semester. This is Jim's lab, and we brought them out. Wait, this is the first time, last spring, when we brought them out to learn how to program the robot. So they came to Jim's lab that day. We had them doing other things. I had them in the biology lab. I'm a biology person. So I'm the oddball out here a little bit.
You are?
Yeah, you are. But English and biology. So anyway, I have to stick to biology in there wherever I can. So I had them, doing microscope stuff too. But when they were with Jim, he was showing them just an intro to how to program the robots. They put them together that day, and then we thought after that day they could kind of go home, and just kind of go to town after that. So that was the day out at IDCC in the spring. And here they are working with the programming of the robot. And then these are some of the other activities that we've done with them on different days. And sometimes that picture in the lower right is out at the school, at Lincoln, the middle school. So we go out there. We did the diode activity out there. And I came out and had them extract DNA just using common household items. And they really enjoyed that. There's their DNA down in the lower left there that they extracted, that little mucusy stuff at the bottom there. And in the upper left is a picture of them working on some bones. We have quite the bone collection in the biology lab. So the honors students at IUCC have also benefited from this program because on that day, one of the honors students coordinated that whole activity under my supervision, and he had the girls going through, talking about bone growth, looking at x-rays, looking at microscope slides. So there we got the science in again. And this is Caitlin Ranker. She's one of the honor students that coordinated that day. Her mother is a veterinarian, so she brought x-rays of the animals from her mom's practice for the girls to look at, and she did a great job. And this is the diodes again. This is another dad working with his daughter, melting the metals on the silicone plate.
Oh, I just took a picture again. Thanks.
Okay, and this is Doreen working with one and her mother on the diode activity. That was a flurry of activity that day. We did all 121 girls in like 5 separate sessions. Okay, so the computer activity, I think, is one of the most powerful things that we have ever done. We had the girls come to campus and tear apart a computer and put it back together. So this is a little clip of that day when they really do that. Kids in general, and I just find it to be one of the best things that we've ever done with them, because the thought of getting into the innards of a computer. You know, most people don't think about taking it apart and just putting some RAM in or whatever. And we had these girls do that, and the ideas that they had for remembering how to, you know, to put it back together and where the parts went, because we didn't tell them, you know, this is that, this is that, and just to take that apart, and every now and then something was hard to pull out and we'd help them, but they just went to town. What did you think of that?
Yeah, that was one of the things amazing was how they really tore into it. So
Yeah.
It was tough. I told them you're going to have to make sure the wires and cover them, make sure they're going in the right spot. If you think you're not going to remember where it plugged in, take a picture with your cell phone before you did it. So they would use their cell phones, take pictures, look at the pictures, and okay, this one goes in it. So it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and you know, it doesn't stop with just taking it apart. They have to put it back together, they have to plug it in, they have to boot it up and see if it works. So I think that's, you know, Jim's yeah, they did. Jim's key secret. And when they don't, they learn something. And when they don't, they have to get in and, oh, well, I put that there and it goes over here, you know. So.
What are these deeds you flashing lights?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we didn't have any of that.
I had mentioned before too about the millennial generation characteristics, and you know, this group, we surveyed them, you know, and we asked them, you know, about their confidence level in certain things, and asked them how confident they were. For example, when working alone on projects, and 28% of them said that they were extremely confident or very confident that they could do a task by themselves. And 94% said that they were very confident when working with a team. So they really, and that's kind of the generalization of it. Keep your fingers away.
I'm not confident working alone.
So 94%, so that's a nice broad generalization. This generation, they want to work with people. They want to do it together. And I mean, that's overwhelming, you know, an overwhelming number right there. We also asked them how confident they felt about building, constructing, using tools, hardware, building the robot, things like that in general. Before they started the program, we asked them that. 33% said they were very confident or extremely confident when using tools. And then after they actually did the robot activity, 72% said very confident or extremely confident. So we do have an interview. We did several interviews with the girls. And if you have questions for the girls, we're going to pipe them in, and you can ask them a question if you'd like. But here's an interview that we did with some of them.
Now, you're going to rank yourself again on this. Before you entered the STEMS program and after you entered the STEMS program. Okay. Building, constructing, using tools and hardware, Legos, paper, screwdrivers, so on and so forth. How did you feel before you entered the STEMS program when you were working with a lot of those things? So pretty low on the rank scale. Okay, how about after you came to the STEMS program, 1 through 5?
Trying to do the second one now.
Okay, you can go back to the first one.
Okay. I just got rid of that.
Okay, there we go.
I don't like this computer.
Okay, well, we have a robot with us. We weren't, you know, I inserted the picture, but if you want to play with it after, you could come up and play with it and see how it works. Okay, so other outcomes, we asked them about their confidence level about programming a robot, actually using the software, and before 27% said that they were extremely confident or very confident in doing that task or completing that, and after 76%. And then we asked them about their confidence level about the computer, and we do have another video clip about it, but like 28% before were very confident about tearing the computer apart, and 55% after. So you can play that clip now.
When you were told you would take apart a computer, how confident were you in your ability to do that task? 1 through 5. So when you first walked into that tech lab out there with Jim, and Jim said, okay, here's 18 computers, go to them, take them apart. So your first reaction was what? What was your first reaction when he told you were going to do that?
Because when we took it apart, I thought that I was going to break it. So if the next generation worked, then I was really scared.
So what did you have to work on to figure out then?
We had to the whole time we trying to remember it, we really pulled it out and what it was, and then we need to say it and yeah, so like moving or everything that's said, like stuff that went on the left side of the area and stuff that went on the right side. I would have to find that on the sometimes it actually works.
Yeah, so it was interesting when, the one girl said that she didn't take pictures, so she had to really try hard to remember where everything went. And I thought that was really organized of them to put things on the left side that went on the left side of the computer. All right, so the name, the STEM girls, and Christy can model the shirt. The girls got their shirts on, so maybe they can give another wave so we can see their shirts. They don't hear me. They don't hear me. Maybe you couldn't hear me. Yeah. Well, they came up with the shirt design, and they came up with the name Smart Team, where everyone matters. And so a couple of the girls designed the front, and every time they come out to campus, they wear the shirts. And every time they do an activity at the school, they wear the shirts. And so everybody knows something's going on at the school that day when they've got their great shirts on. What's going on today? What are you going to do today? So you go to the next slide. This is our contact information. We do have copies of the PowerPoints, and we have a CD with all of our resources, surveys, and permission slips and things like that we've needed to develop that take a lot of time. If you choose to do your own project, you can do that. But in the last bit of the talk here, I thought you would have a chance to ask the girls a question. Does anybody have any questions for the girls?
Do any of their parents work in IT or have any background in computer technology?
Do you want to ask them, Christy? There you go. Okay.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Say wave if you can hear me.
Wave if you guys can hear me. Now you can hear me.
Okay, ask them.
We wanted to know if anybody's parents have any background in computer technology or work in the computer industry.
My dad works with computers.
Yeah.
You guys need to turn your mic on.
You need to turn yours off.
My dad works with computers.
Question?
Yeah, it looks like she's going to think that they might go into the school.
Yes, that's a good question. Oh, here, somebody's going to answer.
My dad works with computers.
Okay, we've got it back on two-way. Did one of you,
Lizzie.
okay, Lizzie, did you want to answer that one question? I know she hears me.
You got to push your mic button.
Yeah, push your mic button. We can't hear you. Now we
Technical difficulties. Yeah.
There's a lot of echo that's there.
It's like it's recording.
Yeah, because your mic is So their mic is picking up their speaker was playing us. So we've got those with both mics open.
We have another question if you guys can answer us. I don't know if you can hear me. Wave if you can hear me. Okay, the question is, how many of you are considering going into technology field, something like science, technology, engineering, or math?
Let them go.
How many of you are considering for the program?
Yeah. Okay, that's great. How about this question? How many of you were considering one of those fields before you started our program? Oh, not very many. Not very many. Okay. Are we? No. It's like
Oh, I can't see my watch.
I tracked the 8th graders from last year into the high school, and there were only 7 from this program, particularly from the high school this year. 5 of the 7 picked a science-related, between science and math area-related, technology-related area in the high school for their career pathway. And opposite, they all said their favorites. They love this program. They love it.
Yeah, they all love it, and I think it gets them thinking.
And they're all going in. They all promised to do. They didn't promise what they said. They volunteered to take studying 4 years of math. Yeah. If we can keep them away from their boyfriends.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what happened. You know.
It makes them think about what they need to plan for high school even now, because our local high school that most of you can go to has a career track. They have to declare a major, by their sophomore year, and it's the several clusters. It's like career and technical. It's
I can't remember.
Yeah,
It's the same career clusters.
Yeah, that's what they're coming up with. But most of them have in the middle school. They're not thinking about those things. But we talk to them about it all the time, and I think that gets them planning for high school. They know that they have to plan for this so that they can be ready. And what we're seeing, you all know, the community college is a lot of underprepared students when they get to it. They're just not ready for college level classes.
It makes me wonder if I hope that maybe they're able to share with their peers what they're going to do, especially if they're prepared for high school and stuff like that. They end up spreading word about it.
Yeah, well, we were talking about how could we, build some leadership skills into them, and we were thinking of having them present to the school board and even having them go down to the elementary school and show the little kids, what they're doing. But I think that's a really important point to talk to the other ones in the school.
I think a big thing is if we can, we're really looking at having the girls show the boys how to do at school, how to do some of these activities. I think it's going to foster a lot of leadership in these girls. It's going to foster their confidence level that, I can do this and I'm not inferior. And I think sometimes in these fields of study we find that the females think they're inferior to the males. Not necessarily always true, but I think that's kind of been the status quo. And so I hope that by the girls getting to show the boys what they're doing and what they've learned, will really foster that in their education.
Computer activity, especially. The reason I see so much in that activity is I know none of those girls ever thought of sticking their hands in a computer before. And I stick my hands in a computer. I upgrade my own computer, and I don't know why I was never afraid to do it, but I know they never thought of it. And once they did, they thought, hey, this is not that hard. It's really not that much to learn how to use a computer. And just to get them to do that one time, I think bolsters their confidence.
Which I more recently is not afraid to stick her hands in the computer, but she sticks her hands in the things like
a computer tab.
things like that.
Thanks for plugging my around the technique. Yes,
So I was just wondering how they feel that the confidence that they get from doing these hands-on projects will help them doing other projects in other classwork.
Good question.
Hey girls, I don't know if you heard the question, but the question is, how much do you think this program has helped you in your other classes to succeed?
I'll just close up.
Hey, do one of you lovely young women want to come up to the camera and speak? No, you gave.
Okay. You're on. Oh. It helped us align our classes.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Somebody's got
Somebody else.
Talk about how it can
It kind of helped in more like in algebra. Some of the problems we did, and the like when we did the thing with the rocket, when we launched the rocket and had to do the math problems, then it kind of helped in algebra too. So.
Solving methods. Yeah, the problem-solving methods or techniques that you guys, I guess, allowed them to find out about. Is that what they were talking about here, you think, or?
Yeah, I think what we did when we did the rocket activity with them, Jim said, "Well, we'll just have them estimate distance using tangent," and I'm like, "They don't get that until high school." But we presented it in a way that they did it, and I think, you know, we go into it with the expectation that, and we tell them, "Do you know that you're doing high school level algebra here?" And they're like, "Wow," you know, and then I think even just telling them that they're doing upper level math and it's just little bits of math that we're doing, but that really makes them, you know, I think a lot of it is what you say, you know, you don't believe that you can do it, but just to do the experience and see it's not as hard as...
I think if we had told them this is what you're doing before they did it, they may have had a little bit.
It would have been a little apprehensive.
Because we said, here's how you do it.
Well, and it was while we were doing, you know, they had to measure the lines. They had, you know, it wasn't a triangle on a piece of paper, and we said, okay, this line segment is this long, and this line segment is that long. They had to measure it. They had to go out and get their rocket, and, you know, they had to estimate the angle, and then, you know, we found the tangent for them, and they plugged the numbers in, and they came up with their distance.
This reminds me of the Girl Scout thing. You guys make any connections with outside groups, outside informal educational groups?
Well, we actually did a whole semester or a whole year with Girl Scouts. We helped them earn certain badges, and we actually were wanting to work on our own badge, a local badge in technology. So we spent a whole year with Girl Scouts.
That spreads it out a little bit.
Right.
Right. The multiplier effect.
In previous years, just to show we're not totally biased, we have some good Boy Scouts too.
Yeah.
That's why I came to I wish Girl Scouts so much.
Did you have a question?
Yes, woman, I'm sorry, administrative question, but it's scary. You guys are doing exactly what me and my partner is trying to do. And one of the big obstacles is right now we barely get them for lunchtime because that's when the teachers are kind of forced into volunteering. So you do this at lunchtime after school. Do you actually get time off to do it?
Yeah, like her and no, I do it with them during my prep period, and basically my room is open and they can come in and work on their road pets or if we have any questions. We do have some days when we take them out to the college. We've gotten release time to go out to the campus with the girls. And when you come into the school, we actually, John and I have just kind of like flip-flopped our classes so that we can spend part of the time there, and he'll take my class and I'll take his class, or, you know, kind of flip-flop around. But, you know, we've kind of just had to juggle it all, trying to work it all out. Would it be great to have, you know, release time for it? Remember we've got great administrative practice is who you get. You know, I mean, that is the major coordinating.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah, that they're doing.
And do your college administration support you doing this?
They might not even know, actually. But we are a grant, and we're doing this on our own time. You know, all of us involved in the college are doing it on our own time. But, you know, they know that we are part of this National Science Foundation grant, and we do get release time to do this too.
Are you all community college in here, instructor? No. Yeah, you know then that, you know, we're teachers. You know, we teach, and so like to do an NSF grant, it's a lot of work, and to get you out of even one class is difficult. So, well, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but
one thing I want to add is that we are all technology teachers other than Rosie, and at a community college, our enrollment is usually lower than, you know, other areas in the college. And so we are constantly, you know, being asked to do things to beef up our enrollment. And, you know, because of this grant, the focus of the grant is to recruit into technology fields. And so, the college is very happy, you know, to accept the funds from National Science Foundation to let us do this.
The last thing is, obviously there's a focus on minorities, and, you know, when you look at the girls only, you don't have to service these other minorities or anything like that?
Our grant actually is for you know, our focus was on middle school, younger women. We're doing all, actually it encompasses adult people, adults, and women. Probably, and 18-year-old boys are probably the only ones that we really don't focus on. But I want to tell you too that we have another project that we call a tech course. It's a Taste of Engineering course. And what we do is we started tech clubs in high school. And what we do is we Purdue University had a professor that we partnered with, and he was engineering guitars, and he teaches engineering through the making of guitars. So we actually take a select number of anybody, young, and it usually ends up to be young boys, and we bring them through the engineering of a guitar while we build the guitar. So we're teaching the physics of the guitar and science and everything behind the guitar. And when they leave with a guitar. So it's a real, we do take in
our district, the district that Christie's in, this district, has a relatively high Hispanic population. Overall, our community college district has a Hispanic population of only about 8 or 9%.
And that is our ethnic diversity.
We have a Black American population of
very little.
3%.
Yeah,
5%. I don't know, tiny. You know, we don't have a very diverse.
But just like across the country and across the state of Illinois, Hispanics are growing.
Yes.
Well, we did this at Toledo College where I teach. We did this in the summertime, 6-week course. So it was a regular program.
Oh, wow.
AQIP, we call it, Academic Responsibility. I think we stole the name from Maryland, and then people think we were connected, but we weren't. And it was a great course, except for the fact only 2 faculty members would do it. And we were paid overdose for it. I mean,
it is a lot of work.
Well, I think it's more than that. But and the only in our division, the only concession we made to kids is I changed the assignments to be more interesting to kids. You know, rocket ships instead of inventory, things like that. And it was very successful, and it was boys and girls, and the girls showed plenty of leadership. In fact, they were usually a little sharper than the boys. We'd make fun of them. They would often come and tell me things like, Mr. Gary, Joe is watching an adult website. And then the boys would play Doom, and they couldn't stand it. The guy called Doom the Arion Destroyer, and the girls really loved that. So it was really successful. And then it fell victim to politics. The local high schools started feeling they were...
Well, this is where the grant comes in. You know, the grant provides the money that we are able to pay teachers to come in and to do, you know, we're able to pay them well just to come in to give an hour or 2 of their time and their expertise. So the grant, National Science Foundation, we really have to give a lot of credit. We wouldn't be able to do this at all
without the National Science Foundation.
And I also want to bring up affluent group. Because we dropped off in Mercedes.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
It wasn't the money that was the point, it was the involvement of parents.
Right.
I did hand out those evaluations to you, and I do appreciate it when you fill us up. For one thing, our project evaluator walked in.
Hey girls, do you want to say goodbye, turn the mic on and say goodbye to everyone? They're going to say goodbye to you, I think. Are they going to We love you in California.